just make a comment about Jennifer's. I think as a board we do have to consider if we are going to do raises or hold raises. Not necessarily no, but until we know funding, we should, I agree with her comments that we should either hold them all or give everybody who was slated for raise a raise. And that was, that's just my comment. I think, you know, if we should think about the message we're sending to our teachers, and think about it thoughtfully. Maybe not take it out completely off the table for anyone, but I'd like to thank Jennifer and just want to say I agree with her comments and thoughts surrounding the raises.
I can respond to this in this fashion. That's a conversation that the superintendent and I and Mr. Vaughn had somewhat about what, you know, we all felt good about what we were going to be able to do for our staff, sure. And now we can't do it. The other side of that is, do we overestimate our revenues and then give people a raise on paper and have to take it back in a month or two because revenues are so poor? So we all agree if we have the revenue, that's the first thing we want to do. That's we're all in agreement with that. But right now, based on what we know from the state, we don't have the wherewithal in our revenue stream to do that. So that's where we are.
How much are we looking at?
Well, just to do the 1%, the 1%, excuse me, let's see, what was it? The 1 step plus 1% alone was, this wasn't without any of the targeted increases, you know, for like teacher assistants and things like that the salary committee approved. We were looking at, you know, just almost 270,000 right there.
Is there a projected loss that the locality's not going to get, or
they haven't provided that to me?
See, the other thing we have to look at too is it sustainable?
Yes.
You know, if we quote on a limb, give the 267,000 this year, and the state cuts us more next year, then what are we going to do?
Well, you have a couple options if that's what you want to do. One is you could not share any of that funding with the Board of Supervisors. Okay, that's one. All right. Two is you could use the CARES Act funding that guarantee you for the 2 years. If it's only 200, how much did you say?
270,000.
Okay, so that would approximately cover it from there. The question is what would happen on the third year. So you have some options in there.
The other.
So what I'm kind of a little confused. So you mentioned sharing money with the supervisors? Is that what?
Yeah, I spoke to you on the telephone about
it. Yeah. Yes. So basically, we're making cuts, so we can pony back up some money to the Board of Supervisors.
No, that's more of our capital improvement.
Yeah, there's no cuts in here. We're level funded in this budget from the county, from what they currently fund.
Okay, so basically we're just giving them money out of our funds that we already have.
Out of the carryover fundings from this year.
From this year. Just kind of
an estimated amount.
Stopgap for it to help with their losses from the pandemic.
Correct.
Where we usually keep it in our capital fund. We're not going to keep it this year. We're going to return to the capital.
So, yeah, it's not all of it. Some of it.
And that's just if they need it, right?
Yeah.
That the way I understood it?
Yeah, but I kind of think that some of that will go back just on the basic conversation. So,
because obviously we didn't need to carry over money, so we're giving it back.
Well, normally what we do is we put it in the capital fund and then we use it for capital. Okay, or we use it for other things. Last year we put some into construction and a few other different areas. Okay, but again, at this point, if we want to continue I think a positive working relationship that we have with the Board of Supervisors, I think that's a good thing to do. But however, if you feel strongly that needs to be used for salaries for a year or 2 years, I mean, you have that option to do that.
Of course, the county has the option of just reducing our funding as well. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword.
And I do appreciate what Ms. Seckner said about me. I'm under contract, okay? And so that's something I would have to decide personally. And so I've had some conversation with it. I'm also in retirement down the road, and that makes a big difference for me.
Well,
And I also have been underpaid compared to my fellow peers that in certain fields. So.
well, I say we use the money for education purposes and what we need. That's my vote.
Be more specific, Mr. Kerr.
Well, I mean, if we were going to use this money to help strengthen our education program, we need to use it for that.
Does it mean programs versus salary?
Well, happy teachers make good programs. So
So you're
I
saying
think what he's
salary.
saying is he's saying use his salary instead of giving back to the county.
yes, I'd say we use what we can and give them what we can.
My thought process is if we, like Mr. Rice just said, if we tell them we're not going to give them a certain amount, they're just going to cut us that amount.
Well, then you won't. Remember, they're supposed to fund what we need to operate our school system each year. So as long as we're telling them what we need, they should be able to fund it. And if not, we got some of the best lawyers in the state of Virginia working for the school system.
Mr. Kern, I'll just to say something about that. Our county funds us more from a percentage basis than most school systems get in the state. So you just got to be careful with that. You can say that, but then if they go back to what would be considered normal funding, is that we would have to cut a lot of things to be able to run. So just keep that in mind.
They do significantly fund us over the required local effort. I mean, significantly.
And we have, I feel like we have a good working agreement with them when we can hold on to our capital improvement, our money for capital improvement, which they don't have that in the city of Covington. That is not an option for the city of Covington. I feel like we're kind of our relationship with the county is kind of the standard bearer for this area.
And technically, we're supposed to give the money back. We just have an agreement with the county that.
No, it's worked differently in different places. Generally, that's what it reverts back to their general fund, but except the agreement that was made several years prior to on board was that it would, but in lieu of, then they're not responsible for fixing anything. So hence a couple of years ago, before I got here, the AC system was done through the school fund, which is really unusual for that to happen. Generally, those major capital projects are picked up by the locality. And
Callahan?
oh, big time, yeah. I mean, there's a big expense right there. If we end up doing the weight room and the track and, the roof into Mountain View, you're talking a significant amount of money. So.
That arrangement was done by a resolution by both boards too, so that's documented. It wasn't just a handshake. The other option the board has, if we move forward and we find our financial position improving, and we have done this in 1 year in the past, is you do have the option of providing one-time bonus. One of the advantages of that, it's not an ongoing cash flow, but it is money in people's pockets. Generally, it's a lesser cost to the board because you don't pay Virginia retirement system on it. You're just paying FICA. And that is also an option available to you going forward.
Would it not be the wise thing to wait until the smoke clears on our budget?
That
I
would
think
be
the smoke's here.
Yeah.
that'd be my recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, to wait till we find out exactly what the state's going to give us.
You can also, no need to vote on this tonight. We could have a called meeting sometime between now and the 22nd.
So what are the options here? We could table this.
We could have a called meeting.
We have a
We could
call.
do a board work session prior to and do a called meeting afterwards for a vote. So if we want to go back to the budget.
Because I think definitely, we just received this last night, so,
It's not from a lack of effort, I can assure you.
well, no, I understand that. I just think there are questions
I don't want to rush. I agree.
I think that it'd be nice if we,
Can we look at our calendar now to set a date to do it? Today's the 18th. The 27th, that's a Tuesday, Wednesday, or we could do the following Monday, the 1st. Say again?
I'm good with either.
Well, I'm sorry, what was it, next Wednesday? Is that what you
Next
said?
Wednesday, the 27th.
I was going to be gone that day, but I can.
No, that's okay, that's fine, we can, or we could do the 28th. How about the 28th? Means I give you enough time to look at it and ask questions. Or we can do the 1st of June. And that's still 2 weeks prior to the meeting. Our next meeting.
Do you think we'll have some finality from the state by then?
This is as final as it gets right at the moment. That's based on the calculation tools that are the standard of funding for the school divisions. I don't envision that being revised before the end of this fiscal year.
I mean, another option you have is you can take the money out of the sales tax and you can use that as your.
Well, I will say that, and Gene and I have talked about this. My only thing is the, and I understand that we agreed on a contract with Mr. Toka on his portion, and I know that there are some teachers that are a little fired up that they're not going to get a raise, but somebody is, and I understand why we agreed on that increase in salary. And I think there are some folks that are not happy about it, and I mean, if I were one of them, I could understand. So I think we all would like to be able to give some sort of raise to our employees, to all of our employees. And I think there are a lot of people that have gone above and beyond throughout this whole thing. I know we're kind of in dire circumstances right now. We're kind of at the mercy of the state and the county, and I think we all should feel blessed that the county is not going to have a huge tax increase. I think that's a great thing, but I think that maybe we just need to all talk about it a little bit more and see what we can come up with. I mean, we have, I don't think Covington's given any kind of raise.
I'm not aware of any divisions in my Region 6 that are getting increases at this point. They've all done similar to what Ms. Morgan or Ms. Seckner mentioned. That if we get the wherewithal, it's kind of like the unallotted that Gene mentioned, that, you know, if we end up having funds, we want to try to move forward with that. So, and that's certainly fine. But
We didn't foresee any of this, so, you know, it's unforeseen times that weren't anticipated. So I just feel good if we say no raises, we say no raises. That's across the board for everybody, not no for the entire year, but until we can see what we can do and go from there.
yeah, I don't, as the old adage goes, it's much easier to giveth than taketh away. And when you start providing a salary increase and you have to remove that, that wouldn't be good either.
I think it was all this hype about all this excess funding Virginia was going to have.
Could be.
And then said, well, we're going to be able to fund these big raises. And all of a sudden now it's gone. And but people remember that they said we was going to give them raises. It's hard to take it away.
That was before people knew what COVID-19 was going to do.
June 1st, all right? It's a Monday. So, if I understand correctly, a work session prior to our call meeting. Mr. Wright?
Works for me. Is that good for everybody?
It's a Monday.
So I guess maybe we would entertain a motion to table this until then. Is that?